Welcome back to the Bootleg Corner. It is the Penguin episode 6 review once again, and time is running out for our main characters. The last episode ended with Oswald finding a new underground base of operations, as well as a truce between Maroni and Sophia Gigante, which has redefined the battle lines once again in Gotham. Well, I've been watching and thinking these events are still within days or weeks after the explosion of Gotham's seawall, but the beginning of this episode has led me to believe that it must be at least months of events taking place because of the time Oswald's mushrooms needed to grow. Now remember, they only had 2 buckets left after their betrayal of the Maronis and some empty underground base, but now they have a large crew of people farming the plant and producing the bleach drug, as well as a distribution network. So it is only logical to ascertain that setting up all this has taken quite a lot of time. Meanwhile, Dr. Rush, who was introduced in episode 4 while working in Arkham, seems to have developed some habits and behaviors of his own, and I'm not sure if he's attracted to Sophia because of herself or because of her status as an alleged mental imbalance patient. But whatever it is, he is pitching in his lot with her, and that is what it is for now. As I said in the last episode, Maroni's escape from jail did not add up, and I expected there to be a televised manhunt for him, and that was confirmed on Gotham News in this episode. What I did not expect was to find him at the Gigante house, because I did not think that their alliance had gotten that far this early. But it makes sense for him to hide in the one place the police will never think to look. For Victor, he is now having trouble with Squid, and he is not sure how to handle it. Now, he has had some experience on the tough side of life, but in reality, he is not a real gangster yet. He has not fought, robbed, or beat anyone, so he lacks that extra toughness that comes from engaging in things like that. And that is why he takes the issue to Oswald. But Oswald is having troubles of his own with his mother, who is having mental lapses. So Oswald is only trying to make whatever the rest of our life looks like more comfortable, and without light in Crown Point and the generator having issues, it seems that his world has gone to shit at the moment. Now, this is a funny parallel, because in my real world where I'm from, generators are like everyday appliances because electricity is inconstant. But in Gotham, losing power for a little while feels like the end of the world. But Victor, seeing this, realizes that it is better off to handle the situation privately, and here is where I'm thinking that Oswald may have deliberately pretended he didn't hear Victor's report about Squid just to see how he will handle it alone. Now, this might be a reach and speculation or whatever you call it, but we see that this action had the desired effects and results for Victor and Oswald. Back to Sophia and Maroni, they are looking for an opening to get back at Oswald, and since they can't track the base, they decide to go after their customers, and that is a smart move, because if the market is scared, then the product is useless. But some way, somehow, Oswald comes up with a crazy idea to counter that setback. If nobody is going to buy his drugs out of fear of getting killed, then he will just give them away one time, free of charge, and recreate the demand for his drugs by himself. And since they've been making so much money, it is a loss he can afford to take at this point in time. Meanwhile, Victor has gone to meet Squid to figure out a solution to his problems, and Victor's first choice is trying to pay him off. Now, at the moment when I saw this, I knew this was the wrong move, because in Squid's eyes, Victor was the good neighborhood kid who just jumped up the porch and through dumb luck has made it somehow to working with Oswald, who is a big time player. So it is insulting that Victor of yesterday is now attempting to pay off Squid, who has been in the streets for way longer. And now, if we forget about the insult for a second, everyone knows paying a blackmailer or a shakedown artist is a never-ending loop. So even if Squid had taken the money, the demands would have risen and risen until they came back to the beginning once again. So I cannot say I was surprised Victor shot him, because I knew it had to happen at some point, and we can see the fear and reality of his actions play across his face as he comes to understand the consequences of what he's just done. The kid glows up come off, no more nice guy Victor, and he has officially crossed over to the dark side. Seeing Oswald's mother realizing she's losing her mind and understanding that there is nothing that can be done to stop it is quite a crazy turn in some ways, because I don't think there's any preventable causes of Alzheimer's or things like that, and it is most likely a luck of the drop type of sickness, watching your mind turn against you and erase or replace your memories with something else while you are helpless to stop it. I mean, I can understand why her asking Oswald to euthanize her if she gets too bad, but even as evil as Oswald has proven to be, what are the odds he will do it if it ever came to that? It's possible, but we will never know, because the way this episode ended promises some dark tidings for Mrs. Cobb. Sophia's search for a lever to use against Oswald leads her to Lower Gotham, and it is unclear why she did not take Maroni with her, but she's looking for Eve with little success until Eve decides to reveal her location. Eve is deflecting all Oswald-based questions until she realizes that Oswald has left her to take the fall. But it's a weird sequence to me, because I remember Oswald asking her to go with him to Crown Point. Well, in the end, she gives up Oswald's location, and we know that if Oswald finds that out, she is a dead woman, except she can somehow secure protection from Sophia after telling her the secret. Now, next up, in a funny twist of events, Oswald is shockingly a violent public advocate, attacking Councilman Hedy at night to demand for the restoration of electricity to Crown Point, and we know his threats are taken seriously, because power returned that same night to Crown Point. It is exceptionally funny to me because Oswald in this scene, he acts like the Batman, and this is very much ironic. Oswald's biggest act in this episode was the meeting he organized alongside the other mobsters and gang bosses in Gotham, rifling off a speech about needing to work together for collective success, and his examples of politicians doing the same, no matter their ideals, rings through the hearts of these guys. But they are all especially wary of Oswald. After all, he has betrayed his own bosses before and just owned up to killing Alberto Falcone. So what is to stop him from doing the same to them? But in the end, he asked the important question of why not us? Because these are small-time gangsters restricted to small parts of their block, while the Falcones and Maronis have been running the entire city. So when he says, why not us, that resonates so deeply within them that for probably the first time in Gotham's history, these different gangs are working together at the same time towards a common goal. Oswald's speech and acting is so good in this scene that I am saying it right now, he better be on every list when it comes to time for award season, because he was nothing short of phenomenal in that sequence. The ending of this episode moves quickly from the brightness of euphoria over the restoration of electricity to the darkness of a sinister Sophia standing with the crowbar ready to visit violence upon Mrs. Cobb and Victor. And that is why I had said Oswald may not have the chance to honor his mother's wishes, because Sophia had been looking for a target all this while, thinking Oswald had no weakness, only to find out he had a murder hidden away all this time. Except Victor still has his gun in his pocket from killing Squid, I think this is going to be a bad ending for Sophia. But now I am predicting that that Sophia leaves Victor alive to send a message to Oswald that she can touch him where he hurts the most. Now that's the wrap on this episode. There are 2 more episodes in this series, which has only 1 season approved so far, so don't be surprised if there's an increase in the pacing and some time skips to close the series out. For instance, I think the next episode, starting with Oswald's mother dead and Victor beaten up and bloody but alive, would be a good gut punch to launch episode 7. But that's as far as my suggestions go. This is still the Bootleg Corner. Hit me with your thoughts in the comment section. Keep it locked in, and I'll be back.